Welcome to the channel. Today we have an incredibly emotional and painful story in which I will share with you how I found out that my wife cheated on me throughout our marriage. It was a punch in the gut that changed my life forever. We'll talk about what signals I missed, how I revealed the whole truth, and how I had to piece myself together after such a betrayal. If you've ever come across something like this or want to learn how to deal with betrayal, stay tuned. I promise, it will be frank and real. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like it, and click on the bell so that you don't miss new stories. How did I find out that she cheated on me throughout our marriage? My name is Mike. I am 37 years old, and I have always considered myself a happy person. I married Carrie, the woman I loved with all my heart. We met more than 10 years ago at a party at a mutual friend's house. I immediately felt that she was the one. She had an infectious smile and the ability to make you feel special. We dated for about a year before I decided to propose. The wedding was a dream: friends, family, music, laughter, and of course she is my beloved Carrie. Everything seemed perfect. As the years passed, I thought we had a pretty strong marriage. Of course, there were quarrels and misunderstandings, like all couples, but we always found a way to solve them. I thought that we were both on the same wavelength, that we were a team that went through any difficulties together. I loved her, and I was sure she loved me. We traveled together, arranged our house, made common projects, and made plans for the future. But, as it turned out, behind the facade of the ideal family there was a truth that I didn't even know about. It all started with the little things. Carrie became more withdrawn, often leaving for work earlier than usual and returning late at night. When I asked what happened, she waved me off, saying she just had a lot to do. I believed her. I thought maybe she was just tired or needed space. But then strange signs began to appear. Her phone was always on silent mode, and when I got closer, she immediately closed it or put it aside. When I brought it up, she got annoyed and said I was picking on the little things. One day I decided to surprise her at work and picked her up to have lunch with her. When I arrived, it turned out that she had already left. Her colleague, who didn't know who I was, accidentally let slip that Carrie often goes out with some friend. I didn't pay much attention to it at that moment, deciding that it could be anyone, a colleague or a client. However, this was the first alarm bell. As the days passed, I began to notice more and more little things. She often locked herself in the bathroom with the phone, leaving me alone with my thoughts. She often stayed with a friend, and once I even noticed someone else's jacket lying in her car. To my question, she replied that it was a gift for a friend. It all seemed like little things, but these little things began to add up to one big puzzle. One evening, when Carrie went to meet a friend, I decided to look at her laptop. It was morally hard to invade the personal space of the person I love, but my heart was bursting with suspicion. When I opened her email, I didn't expect to find anything special. But I found it. There were a lot of messages from the same man named Tom. At first I thought it was just a friend or colleague. But then I saw messages that couldn't be misinterpreted. They exchanged photos, discussed plans for the future, and shared how good it was for them together. My heart sank into my boots. I read their correspondence and found out that this relationship has been going on for several years. They met when I was on a business trip, texted at the moments when I was sitting next to her on the couch. They even discussed how good it would be if I didn't interfere with their happiness. I couldn't believe my eyes. How could I be so blind? At that moment, I felt a mixture of anger, pain, and betrayal. I didn't know what to do. On the one hand, I wanted to break up everything and leave. On the other, I still loved her and wanted to understand why she did what she did. I decided not to make a scene and expose her right away. I needed more evidence, and I wanted to prepare myself to figure out what to do next. Over the next few weeks, I kept an eye on her. It was a terrible feeling to be a detective in my own marriage, but I needed to find out the truth. I saw her meeting Tom at the cafe, and they didn't even try to hide their feelings in public. Everyone seemed to know about their affair except me. I met our mutual friend Jeff, and, having plucked up the courage, told him what I had learned. He looked at me with regret and said, "Mike, I didn't know how to tell you, but I noticed it too and tried to figure out if I was seeing correctly. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner." That was the last straw for me. I decided it was time to talk to Carrie face to face. I was waiting for her at home that night. She came in late, as usual, and was surprised to see me in the kitchen, sitting at the table. I did not delay and immediately asked Carrie, "How long have you been cheating on me with Tom?" Her face paled. She immediately realized that I knew everything. "Mike, it's not what you think," she began, but I interrupted her. "Don't. I've read all your messages. I saw you together. Why, Carrie? Why did you do this to me?" She stood in silence, not knowing what to say. Finally, after a long silence, she began to speak. She confessed that she had never really loved me the way she should have, that our marriage was a refuge for her, but over time she began to feel trapped. She said Tom gave her what I couldn't: freedom and passion. I was stunned. Freedom and passion? And you thought the best solution would be to cheat on me all these years? My voice was shaking with anger and frustration. I couldn't sleep that night. I decided to leave home. I packed my things, left our cozy house, and went to a friend who accepted me with understanding. The next day, I filed for divorce. It was one of the most difficult decisions of my life, but I knew it was the right thing to do. I could no longer live with a man who had betrayed me so cruelly. Several months have passed. The divorce was not easy. I was trying to piece myself together and figure out what to do next. I sought solace in work, friends, and even turned to a psychologist. It helped me deal with the pain. I realized that despite all the pain, I deserved better. It took me a while to come to my senses and start living again. Now, as I tell this story, I want everyone to understand that sometimes those we love may not be who they seem. Sometimes you need to trust your instincts and not be afraid to find out the truth, even if it is painful. Infidelity destroys, but it's not the end. This is a chance to start over and find something or someone who will really be worth your love and trust.